So, do we work here or do we play here? I like to think we do a little of both. You hollered and we heard. We definitely are going to have a lot of AI fun today. So relax and enjoy as we take a fun frolic through the world of AI. Laughs are always a great way to round off the year. So Rodney told me to bring people. I can definitely say that I tried. I'm not sure if I should have more rainbow cookies for this occasion. I'm actually having a total Wayne's World moment at this time. I can't believe you guys keep inviting me back for these things. But one thing, I mean, I actually need to reset my skill tree now and put like all my points into charisma. One thing I do know for sure, I've been learning a lot about PowerPoint. Creative AI. This has been, hands down, the most fun I've ever had doing a research project. It was incredibly difficult to stop falling down this rabbit hole. And hang tight, we're going in. Before we get into the ducks of it, some introductions. You may remember me from such talks as The Magic of Max. And speaking of Max, we kind of wanted to include more AI content today, and we had already spoken about that, so we actually omitted the recap on Max. But if you would like the recording, please get hold of me and I'll send that your way. Another session I did was AI, this is the muse you've been looking for. I can also send that out to anyone who's interested in case you needed that additional hour for your timesheets. But I'm chuffed to be presenting my very first BrownBag event. And I put some real heart into this, so I'm glad you guys are here today. And I would like to welcome you to Is AI a Creative Rubber Duck? Disclaimer, this talk contains duck puns and puns of ducks. So today we're going to talk about ducks, right? Or was that AI? What is rubber duck debugging and how does it work? This was based on the 1999 book, The Pragmatic Programmer, where it kind of involved speaking about your problems in a natural manner to a rubber duck. The story depicts a programmer who would do this, and line by line, he would explain it to his duck and then come to the solution of why his code wasn't working. Because when we express something in a different form or different manner, we're thinking differently, and that helps us to solve our problems. How many times have you been telling someone about a problem and entered that aha moment? I've just figured it out. I've got to go. And that brings us to, why should I give a duck? Because quite frankly, my dear, it's a hell of a lot of fun. So, how is an AI like a duck exactly? And why is a raven like a writing desk? I'm just kidding. AI can help us to think about our problem differently. It sheds new light and provides a different perspective. When do you turn to your rubber duck? When you're stuck. Because I know I want to make something, but I don't know how to get there. I know what elements I want to include, but I don't know how to lay them out. Go to a generative AI, put in your ingredients using your unique quantities, and then step back and allow the AI then to bake your idea. Be inspired. Overcome your writer's block. By beginning to generate new ideas, we kick off other thought processes and extend our imagination muscle. We spark off new ideas, leading to new possibilities. The same way you find shapes in the clouds, you can become inspired by random things. You may be drawn to something in an AI creation that only you can see. And inspiration comes not necessarily by default, but as part of the exploratory process, as being part of being open to new things and just being curious. As you allow yourself to play and let your brain discover, moving away from repetitive tasks, so creativity will naturally evolve. And what if we look at it from a different angle? What if you're not an artist? Maybe you're a dev. And what if not everyone's problem is not a lack of inspiration? Maybe I have a song in my heart, but I can't sing. Imagine having the imagination without the talent to bring it to life. Creative AI is a gift to every person who ever wanted to create. Technical space versus creative space. There's creativity in all of us. Creative thinking, creative problem solving. Allow yourself the space to be creative, to think differently, to create what's inside of you. What if this is the era of expanding our consciousness? Two of the top AI contenders at the moment are MidJourney and DALL-E 2. I love all the drama depicted here. But sorry, DALL-E, you lose. I've covered DALL-E previously, including its edit feature, which involves both in-painting and out-painting, that is, erasing and replacing items with a new prompt, or extending your canvas to involve new subject matter. But today, we're going to be focusing on MidJourney. MidJourney is an AI text-to-image creator, which has been in open beta since the 12th of July, 2022. And we'll be diving into a demo today. Every time I talk about this topic, I am blown away by it. These are images which were all generated with the same prompt by MidJourney AI. I asked it for an image that inspires happiness, imagination, inspiration, and motivation without any words. I thought these were great. Not quite sure about the boy who's about to be crushed by the whale. He's in for a bad time. But overall, just so you know, what I'm showing you today is based purely on my own experience, and it's definitely in relation to the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot that I don't know, and all I can say is that there's definitely no better time to learn. So, who am I? Seemingly anything I want to be, according to AI Time Machine. For those of you who don't know me, I am a rare breed. I am the only technical artist in Derivco. Hunted by games, I am the last of my kind. I'm also the author of How to Set Up Your .mpmrc file, which is trending now on Conference. This assortment you see here is created by AI Time Machine. The punk rocker one I'm actually quite fond of, although I'm not planning on getting tattoos anytime soon. There I am as a 1970s hippie. Let that dude live that. You just know I was having a good time. Another punk rock image on the far left there. That guy there. I got that Edward Scissorhands look going on. 1940s glamour girl. Clearly, I had better cleavage in that era. Avert your eyes, children. A pilot and a race car driver. Gotta have that side hustle, you know? It seems though I'm happiest being an astronaut. It's a good thing. We're headed to the moon. For this exercise, I submitted a gallery of images. And unlike previously, when I was playing with Varna AI, I chose images which had all taken place on the same day at the same family shoot. The AI Time Machine recommends that you upload 3 full body, 5 upper body, 10 close-ups, and 2 side profiles. There are 56 categories altogether, and you get access to 20 of them for free on sign-up. Whilst there were a few goodies, the generated output was somewhat mixed. Sure, there were hints of me in these images, but could any of them actually pass as me? There were also some samples which seemed to have missed the mark completely. I did notice, though, that the pattern on my shirt seemed to feature prominently in most of the images that AI Time Machine produced. AI is fast becoming part of our everyday world. AI such as Stephen Liu will recommend to you movies to watch based on what it assesses to be popular. Don't know what to watch? AI Stephen Liu has a recommendation for you. At home, we've got TensorFlow, which identifies objects at our gate. For those who've used it before, you will know how common it is for giraffes and boats to come visit. If you've not listened to the podcast AI, I would highly recommend it. It features a 100% AI-generated podcast with natural-sounding conversation between Joe Rogan and the late Steve Jobs. Apps like Flow for Women take out the guesswork of pregnancy and cycle tracking. Google notifies me when to expect the next episode of Rick and Morty, and alerts me when I have upcoming reservations. It even knows the time I usually leave work and notifies me of the traffic on my route ahead, so I know if I'll be on time. AIs make our lives easier, and they're a cost saver. Imagine if an AI would tell you the average cost of your meeting after X number of participants had joined for anonymity's sake, and would give you an option at that point as to whether or not you wanted to go ahead and book this meeting, because this is how much your meeting is going to cost. What is my take on all of this? It's about time. You get more time to be creative when you don't have to worry about mundane things. According to Maurice Conti, who did a TED Talk about 5 years back, we were then at the dawn of a new age, the augmented age, undergoing a shift from craving obedience from the things we own to valuing autonomy. He pointed out that we spend a lot of time and effort convincing people to buy stuff. We need to change from a mindset of making people want our stuff to simply making stuff that people want. And AI can help us get there. Let humans do what they do best: awareness, perception, and decision-making. Let robots do what they do best: precision and repetitiveness. Allow AI to let us be more creative. Move away from the mundane. Well, I'm here to tell you, we have arrived. As per the last Brown Bag, which featured a talk on the fourth industrial revolution, AI is here to do what it does best, and so that we can do what we do best. It's here to free us up for creative thinking. I no longer have to spend valuable time searching for reference images. Now I can simply generate them and skip right to the part I love most: creating. You want time back to be more creative? Well, this is it. Let the AI productionize while you perfect. Let AI be your assistant. We're heading from the mountains to the moon. Times have changed. What makes for a good host in 2022? Hello, welcome to our home. Make yourself comfortable. Here's the Wi-Fi password. These are all good hosts, by the way, according to MidJourney AI, even if one of them appears to be a marine mammal. Remember how you would check on that website, have I been pawned, to see if your email had been compromised? Well, now there's opportunity to check if your images are part of the Lion dataset over at Have I Been Trained. One such woman who discovered this was an AI artist named Lapine. Her doctor had passed away in 2018, and her files from 2013 ended up in this dataset. And there seems to be little recourse for her on the matter without her losing her anonymity. Lion describes itself as a non-profit organization with members worldwide, aiming to make large-scale machine learning models, datasets, and related code available to the general public. This large-scale dataset is completely open and freely available. It's also non-curated, i.e. a mess. This data can be used in various projects, from facial recognition to computer vision to image synthesis. For example, some of the images in the Leon set have formed the basis of Stable Diffusion's amazing ability to generate images from text. So it really is an available skeleton that's there for people who want to play with large data sets. Let's give another example of changing times. Our Derivco charity event from 2015, Art from Art. I put together a Doctor Who fan art piece, 60 by 90 composition. It depicted the TARDIS on a cobblestone path on a rainy evening. Rain pooled around it, city lights glowed in the background, and the streets were deserted. This took me the better part of a Netflix series to complete. And after a lengthy Google search, these are the source images that I started with. This was what I narrowed down to use as elements for references for my final composition. And before we continue, let's just take a side step. And let's see what MidJourney can do at this point. MidJourney prompt. Doctor Who TARDIS on a rainy cobblestone street, street lit by old-fashioned street lamps. Well, that would definitely have saved me a lot of time on gathering assets. Whilst there, I felt inspired to try something a little different. And I was quite taken with this. I have to admit, I did feel a little defeated that the image which had taken me an age took an AI barely a few minutes. And if I'm honest, I think it arrived at a better end result. At this point, I stopped to think, what difference does it make if the AI did it better? Did I not achieve my goal? Is the end result not the same? Hey, wait a minute. Think of all the other stuff I could have been doing during that time. Think of all the time I'd be getting back. There are those who shun this sort of thing. If an AI produced it, I'm not interested. But then we need to reassess where we are placing value. Does something not have value if it's produced by the human hand? Oh, sorry, apologies. Does something only have value if it's produced by the human hand? Even if it's amazing and makes our hearts happy? Does the end result not matter at all? Are we saying that the world has no place for digital art? Pinterest is okay, but not ideas from an AI? Let me ask you this. Are you any less of an artist if you trace for proportion? Is your final piece worth any less? One has to keep in mind that at one point, art created in Photoshop was not considered real art. It was deemed unworthy. Yet in today's digital world, it's not just a requirement, it's an expectation. So I didn't have to spend all that time researching. Isn't that a good thing? Not only a time saver when it comes to research, but also for general referencing. Generate what you want, when you require it, prompted to be positioned in the way that you need it. Anyone need some brown bag inspiration? You no longer have to wonder if another composition would have worked better. Now you can run through all your options without consequence, thanks to AI tech. You now have all that time back to do things and expand into more exciting projects. Right, let's return to those rubber ducks. These are all AI generated via text prompt. I was asked if there would be AI generated ducks in this presentation, and I enjoyed making these. But yes, since last we spoke, oh my duck, what has happened? Version 4 of MidJourney was released, and oh my god, you know, look, version 3 is on the left, version 4 is on the right, and this comes from a single prompt. For those who attended the Magic of Max, remember our cheese-eating octopus who insisted on visiting the amusement park? I love how much fun these guys are having, except for that last guy, he's terrified. Also from the Magic of Max, we have our Ninja Turtles pole vaulting, and we have our bear using a toilet in the wood. We all know what bears do in the woods. And for those who were at those talks, and as you look at the art that was produced and the art that is produced in version 4, it is really, we are advancing faster and faster by the day. I also noticed that some of the references have been updated in MidJourney and now seem to be more influenced by popular culture. You'll see my Cheshire Cat there, and what's been on the internet, obviously, with Alice in Wonderland, and how there's a lot of that showing through. He looks a bit creepy now, doesn't he? There are some things that MidJourney doesn't do so well. Well, not yet, anyway. My 4-year-old would like to have a unicorn-themed hamper party. So I did a prompt of unicorns having their nails painted. Perhaps I should have gone with hooves. Something is definitely not right there, and it would take quite a few variations to fix it at this moment. I have to say, though, I'm quite sold on that paintbrush part that's like a unicorn hoof. MidJourney fails at the majority of text imagery, yet it seems to know quite well what Google is. And it's always trying to give someone an extra eye, limb, or other appendage. So you can keep an eye out for those as we go. You won't get a polished project without a lot of tweaking. It's a good thing someone around here knows Photoshop. Speaking of extra eyes, that guy on the right went from cute to creepy. The actual fail here though, I tried desperately to put this skateboard on this frog's head. Denied. Prompts I tried. A frog with a skateboard on its head. A frog with a skateboard upside down on top of its head. A frog wearing a skateboard as a hat. A frog with a skateboard on top of its head. No, denied. I love how though it thought to make the skateboards frog-sized. Moving along, welcome to MidJourney 101. Here's what you need to know. MidJourney is a tool. It's in your hand to manipulate it to make the result that you want. MidJourney runs through a chat platform called Discord. You get 25 free credits when you sign up, and after that, there's no more for you. Whether you're creating an image or upsizing it or creating variations, all of those are going to use up your queries. If you want to create more, they have a $10 and a $30 payment plan, as well as some others that are pay as you use. It has 3 simple rules. Don't be a jerk. Don't generate inappropriate images, i.e. be responsible with your prompts, and be respectful. All galleries are public, so anybody can look at anyone else's work, and if you wanted privacy for what you're generating, that'll be an extra $20. Thank you. So you start off in the newbie channel. It's a great place to sit and watch the world go by. There's always someone generating something amazing. It's also a great place to learn. Observe what others are putting in. Learn the art of prompting. You can also choose to upscale or create variations. And you can even upscale or create variations of artwork that others have produced. Just a side note though, I'm not sure how popular this makes you in the community if you keep on going and playing with other people's art. They tend to get upset. So you simply type in /imagine to get started. You can use a dash to use version 4. Oops. The dash to use version 4. And if you want your aspect ratio to be 3:2 or 2:3, version 4 does support that. Otherwise, all your images are little square guys. Once your artwork is generated, you can choose to upscale, and the prompt alone won't get you there, but variations will. With the remix feature that MidJourney has, you can edit your prompts to adjust them each time, and you can also add different weighting. When you select an image and you say you want a variation of that, it uses the same seed. So it's not going to give you a completely new options, it's going to base whatever variation is off of that first image. However, you can add text weighting, which is quite fun. So the image on the far left here has 0 weighting. The middle one, I placed emphasis on the potion. I gave the witch a weight of 5, the brewing potion a weight of 7, and the cauldron a weight of 3. You'll notice how the witch at the top is prominent. I gave her a weight of 9, and I didn't give anything else a weighting. And below that, I expected a much bigger cauldron, to be honest. Maybe I needed to use a bigger number. But pretty much you can use any positive integer with this, and it'll take that into calculation with what it is that you want to put emphasis on within your creation. All creations are stored within your profile on the MidJourney site. You can also view community creations within the community feed of the gallery. I wanted to see if MidJourney could assume the role of AI time machine, or Varna perhaps. It's a quick and easy to upload an image, and you can otherwise reference an existing URL. And image prompting works slightly differently than you would expect. There is an image weight parameter, but I didn't have a whole lot of luck there. What I did like though was that once again that shirt design featured quite prominently, and it came up with some interesting variations there. MidJourney tips. If you react to your message with an envelope, then the bot will message you in a personal window with your results, which I thought was super handy. I wish I'd known that earlier. Seems like something that should be active by default, if I'm honest. And once you message the bot, you can click on the logo there to always interact with your personal channel, so you don't have to sit around in the newbie channel all day. With settings, you can see what's toggled on and off. If you're a paid subscriber, you can toggle on relaxed mode, which gives you limitless prompts, albeit they're slower to generate. Driving AI can feel like a car with a loose steering wheel. But here are some text prompts to help you out. Keep it simple. You don't need to overcomplicate what you're trying to create. Rather do a one-liner and then create a variation or advance from there. Remix variations to add additional elements. So start off with a white rabbit and then do a variation where it's a white rabbit with a top hat, and then do a variation with this white rabbit with a top hat and a tie, so that things are slowly building. Be specific. We also learn a lot like AI. Better input, better output. Commas are important as they give the AI some sort of context. It helps it divide up what it's creating and where one thing begins and another thing ends, according to what you've described. Now, some of the commands and parameters. Imagine, which is basically how you kick off MidJourney whenever you want to make a prompt. Info allows you to check the status of your account, how many fast minutes you have remaining and such. Relax mode, if you're on the $30 plan, you can create as many images as you want, and they never run out. The prefer suffix, this is quite cool. If you're always using version 4, you're always using a specific ratio, you can set your prefer suffix and then you don't have to type it in all the time. It's just always going to apply that. And that was also a really cool thing. Show job ID, you can go back to any job ID in your gallery, show the job ID, and then make variations on that, even though it was something you made like a couple weeks back. It's quite cool. And we already covered text weighting and our aspect ratio. Version 4 doesn't support all aspect ratios at this time, so pretty much the 3x2, 2x3 is what you'll be looking at. Anyway, enough with the boring stuff. So without further ado, let me entertain you. Alrighty then. That wasn't quite what I had in mind. Just so you know, things don't always turn out the way that you'd expect. I was actually thinking about Queen in that moment, so perhaps an image reference would help. MidJourney supports image prompts. On the left are images created by the prompt, by the AI itself. I put in Freddie Mercury, Queen, let me entertain you. These weren't quite what I was after, and so I decided it was time to pop in an image. Then it'll know what I'm talking about. There is one thing you should know though. When you upload an image to MidJourney, it becomes part of the soup that is the AI. It's just something you agree to. It doesn't mean that it's going to go and reproduce your art, but it does mean that elements of your images will be taken into consideration when it creates new pieces. It's also noteworthy to add that once you're a paid member, anything you create with MidJourney is yours to use as you please. Clearly, that did not work out either. The guy on the left has some like Hannibal Lecter thing going on, and also that dude with the cat. As you may have noticed, throughout this presentation, there's usually one variation that's like the odd one out in the batch. And this provides the opportunity for you to branch off with the current train of thought, from the current train of thought, and expand into a new area. I know I'll combine two images, happy colors and the picture of Freddie, and then it'll know what I want. Because not only does MidJourney support image prompts, it supports multiple images. So let's create an image jam. Okay, so it's possible that made it worse. But as you may have realized by now, creating generative AI art is child's play. Well, it starts off that way and can evolve into a more complex process as you refine your prompts and tweak its results. Are we ready to have some fun? A quick glance at some inspiration in case you need. But I think it's time to take MidJourney for a spin. Cool. So here we are in our newbie channel, channel 77. I'm going to go to our private chat though, just because it's a little nicer not to have everything happening. I'm going to switch into fast mode. Go. Cool. So, I'm going to need some suggestions here. People, animals, activities, professions, or everybody's favorite food.
Derivco.
It should be something that the AI can reference. Otherwise, we're going to end up with something really bizarre. Can someone give me an animal?
Dog.
A dog. Imagine a dog. What is our dog doing? Someone give me a profession?
Doctor.
Private pilot.
Right, going to do doctor first. Dressed as a doctor. And let's make him ride a bicycle.
Unicycle.
A unicycle. I'm so. Sorry, I haven't set up my pre-suffix at this time. Okay, so that guy will kick off. I can kick off up to like 3 at a time. Anybody else? Another animal, person, place?
Gecko.
A gecko. What is our gecko doing?
Sailing a boat.
Sailing a boat. Should we make him smoke a cigar? So you can watch it develop. It's quite interesting though, like that last like 10% makes an enormous difference to what you get here. Still developing there, 70%. And this guy's going to be kicking off now. But even if you're on relax mode, it actually doesn't really take that long. So for me, like at home, I just like endlessly like put in thoughts and stuff and see what it comes up with, and if I want to create variations. There is our dog on our unicycle. Dr. Dog.
Doctor dresses like
Doctor Who, maybe? Dr. Watson, perhaps.
Doolittle.
And we can also create a variation of one of these. So say we like number 1, we can say, cool, I want a variation of that guy. You can even change our prompt. So maybe he's not dressed as a doctor. Maybe he's dressed as a
medical doctor.
Lion.
Well, there was the fighter pilot. No, I didn't forget. So he's dressed as a fighter pilot riding a unicycle. And you just toss that back in there. Gecko's coming along. 92%. Oh, there he is.
The gecko's
A little bit more of a lizard than your typical gecko. But anyway, you can see how this sort of thing would be quite a lot of fun. Oh wait, we still had our fighter pilot guy who was developing, didn't we? Let's just step him out. Oh, there he is. Still coming along. He's only at 33%. I'll wait for him just because he's almost there. But yeah, these are just some of the prompts that I generated for this talk. Just different things I was playing with, and you really can fall down this rabbit hole. Skydive down the rabbit hole. There he is. Not dressed as some sort of a fighter pilot, but this is where you would choose one and then you create a variation and you keep developing that variation until you're where you want to be. Cool. So that was a spot of fun. Are you battling to think of your own prompts? Well, OpenAI ChatGPT was something that was released just last week. It's free while they're doing beta research, and it's a natural speaking chatbot. They say what makes it stand apart from other chatbots is that it has a memory function. And it can actually recount conversations you've had with it. Here are examples they give. You can ask it for ideas for a 10-year-old's party. You can ask it, how do I make an HTTP request in JavaScript? It does have some restrictions. It will not engage in topics that are controversial. It also has built-in filters to safeguard it against advising on illegal or harmful activities. And there's a loophole where questions can be rephrased to avoid filters, but it might refuse to do certain things. I've noticed that if you ask it to imagine a scene, that works out better. It received an update from like the last time I used it, which was a bit strange, and I noticed that my answers were different from the first time I tried it out. So, ever changing. Limitations though, once the server's full, it kicks you off. For the most part, the model does not clarify the intention of your question, it just assumes what you're asking. It also cannot access the internet, so it only has information which OpenAI has provided it with. And it was taken offline with the engine that they're using in like 2021, so it has no information about current events either. It has a failsafe to avoid factually incorrect information, but it can still produce that. And something which has definitely changed recently, like I said, like some of the things that I asked before I was getting like lots of errors, and like I'd asked it to design me certain things or provide ideas, and I was like, oh no, I can't do that. So I'm not sure what's happening with it. I do hope that they haven't ruined it. But I asked ChatGPT for ideas on the best place to go on holiday, and then I entered those as prompts in MidJourney. And those would make for some good holiday postcards. It gave me a nice little description of each for MidJourney. Here I asked it for some fun, colourful prompts for MidJourney, and then I popped them in there. You're in a dreamlike world where everything is made of candy. There's a lollipop tree, a chocolate river, and a cotton candy cloud. This is probably where that text weighting would have come in handy, because there's no sign of the chocolate river and the lollipop tree has pretty much taken over. Imagine you're walking through a forest with magical glowing mushrooms. And this. I didn't expect this. I quite loved all of them. You never know what you're going to find in your closet. This was, you discover a hidden door in the back of your wardrobe. When you open it, you find yourself in a world of vibrant, swirling colors. And I liked all of those. Coming back around, the year 2017, Maurice Conti, back to his TED Talk, he said this: I want to have a conversation with a computer. I want to say, computer, let's design a car. And bang, it shows me an option. And I say, no, more fast looking, less German. And then he added, that conversation might be a little ways off, but probably less than many of us think. The question is, are we there yet? I'd like to think so. And I didn't even have to ask it for something fast looking either. But yeah, this prompt came straight from ChatGPT, and I popped it into MidJourney for that result. So I didn't even have to think for myself. Future trends, unfortunately, there's always the second side to the coin. I suppose this could be good or bad. Things you're likely to see trending in the near future. YouTube is about to get messy, as is Udemy and other platforms such as that. Why, you wonder? Let me just say that these screenshots I took when I was finalizing this presentation. This one was released 23 hours ago, 12 days, 6 days, and 2 weeks. There are tons of these popping up everywhere. We're about to see a lot more training videos on how to do this stuff. Videos about AI platforms in general, and I'm sure many are for shock value as well. Even more videos about how to make money through AI platforms. There's a niggling concern about the flooding of the market with subpar AI art. We mourn the loss of the source file. But bad art is still bad art, and nothing is going to change that. Whether produced by a person or machine, the client has their own expectations when it comes to quality. As time goes on, growing to adoption of the open AI diffusion model we'll be getting a lot more stuff in our face about businesses with their own engines, and right now even DeviantArt has created their own guy, DreamUp. There'll be an influx of apps, it's like we saw earlier, like Time Machine, Varna Portrait AI, Lensa, and a trend that's just starting to pick up, fan art, where they take music videos and change each line of lyrics to a AI-generated image. So that's also quite a lot of fun. Apparently though, there's never been a better time to kick off that paid YouTube channel. A peek at the future. Whilst this isn't open to public use, I do believe that we're going to start seeing a lot more of this in the future. Training data for Google's image and video comes from the same publicly available Lion dataset, which is referenced by haveibeentrained.com. As a result, Google said they have a lot of problematic data in that set. They said it can, although they've tried to filter it, they said that it can still contain explicit and violent content. And so right now, they see this as being too much of an issue. They're quoted as saying, "We have decided not to release the image and video model or its source code until these concerns are mitigated." So that's a bit of a bummer, but I'm pretty sure that someone else is probably going to beat them to it to release it publicly. So, is AI a rubber duck, a creative rubber duck after all? Well, I suppose that would be up to you. The tools are at your fingertips. It's up to you to utilize them when you need to. To springboard in, or as a last resort when you're stuck. It always makes sense to talk to a rubber duck. Cool. Now is the time to ask those impossible questions.
You ever had the same image recur twice, or does it always, like if you show it with the same prompt, does it ever?
It'll make you something different. So you can use the same prompt again, and it'll make you a different composition. But yeah, it really is like a lot of fun.
What if you wanted to make the same imagery or let's say really closely similar?
Okay, there's a parameter called same seed, and when you check out your job ID, you can see the seed ID, and you can say I want you to use the same seed.
So the idea I have, right? I started writing a book a very long time ago, and I've seen that there's some OpenAI stuff that actually does auto completion for you. And I typed in like the first paragraph of my book, and I just wrote like 10 pages, and was accurate, like conversations and everything. And the reason I started the book was actually I came up with a comic book character kind of vibe, and the best way I sort of do it because while I have the ideas for it, I can't articulate it in Photoshop and such. I can, I'm just not fluent with it.
Yes, but why should you be?
Right, so I would like to maybe use this to develop the comic book and ask it to create the scene. Okay, have this character here,
That is
and how would you use
exactly
the seed for that?
One of its uses.
So you can, so I can say like, there's a character that I generated, let's give him a name, and then can I use that character as a seed in another completely separate request?
Yes, you should actually be able to continue on from there. There will be a lot of sites and such about that. I didn't really touch on that stuff, but I did see that there were people who were making their own little movies and things specifically from AI generated art, where once again they had a comic book idea or a story idea, but they didn't have the talent to bring it to life. Cool.